Good morning, all of you. So, welcome to Vidyamandhir Metric Higher Secondary School, Pothangarai. So, myself is I'm Venkat sir, chemistry faculty. So, today we are going to discuss an important topic of inorganic chemistry, that is carbon family. Carbon family. So, this is also we call it as 14th group. So before we start this chapter, I wanted to share an important news to you all. So in this pandemic period of time, already we lost 5 months of time period. So if you won't concentrate at least from hereafter, okay, so we cannot able to finish the syllabus by the time of examination. So all of you, without wasting the time, please concentrate, okay, and prepare for the NEET examination. Okay, so let us restart. Carbon family. So this is a second group in the P block. So as we know, what elements comes under P block? So P block is nothing but the elements in which the differentiating electron enters into P subshell. The elements in which the differentiating electron, what is a differentiating electron? Last entering electron. That electron we call it as differentiating electron. So those elements in which the differentiating electron is entering into P subshell, those all elements we call it as P block. Okay, in this P block, second group is carbon family. Coming to the carbon family, what are the elements comes under this family? If you see the elements, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. Okay, and recently they introduced a new element, that is what? Flerovium. So this is recently introduced element, flerovium, and whose atomic number is 114 and atomic mass is 289. Okay, so this is about the elements. And if you see the natures of these elements, the first two elements, that is carbon and silicon, these two elements are non-metals, and the germanium is a metalloid. As we know, metalloid is nothing but which can show both metallic and as well as non-metallic behavior. And the tin and lead, these two are metals. And the last element, that is recently added element, that is the flerovium, is a radioactive element. Okay, so these are the elements comes under. And if you see this occurrence of these elements, among these all elements, suppose among the carbon family, which element is the most abundant element? If they ask you, silicon is the most abundant element among this carbon family, and the carbon is the 15th most abundant element in the earth crust. So this is about. And coming to the carbon, if you see the carbon can exist in both elemental form, in the nature, elemental form, and as well as compound form or combined form. In both forms the carbon can exist. If you see the elemental forms, in elemental forms, carbon will be present as coal, charcoal, and graphite, okay, and crude oils. Crude oils are nothing but hydrocarbons. Even in hydrocarbon, carbon is one of the most present element. So these are the occurrence of the carbon as an elemental form. Coming to the combined form is carbon is along with other elements. In the combined form, carbon present as carbonate rocks. Usually there are two types of carbonate rocks are there. That is a calcite and magnesite. These are the two best examples for the carbonate rocks. So this is about the occurrence of carbon. Coming to the silicon, second element, silicon. Silicon can exist as silica. Silica is nothing but what? SiO2. SiO2. It's nothing but sand. Silica. Next, silicones, silicates, clay, etc. So these are the occurrence of the element silicon. So these are the two most abundant element among the 14th group. So these are the occurrence of the first two elements. Okay. Next, move on to electronic configurations. Electronic configurations. So if you see the elements, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. So about the recently added flerovium, I am not going to discuss about it. Why? Because it's a radioactive element, no need. So coming to the atomic numbers of these 5 elements, carbon 6 plus 8 14 plus 18 32 plus 18 50 plus 32 82. As we know, 2 8 18 18 32. These are the magic numbers. If you add that numbers to the previous number, we can get automatically the atomic number of the next element in the same group. So 6 plus 8 plus 8 14 plus 18 32 plus 18 50 plus 32 82. So here 8 18 18 32. These are the magic numbers. If you add these numbers, we are getting the atomic number of the next proceeding element in the same group. Okay, now come to the configurations. How to write the electronic configurations of these elements. If you see the carbon, I'm just writing the core configuration by using the noble gases, nearest noble gases. Helium core 2s2 2p2. This is the electronic configuration of carbon. Okay, why? Because here 2 is the valency shell, and the period, the number of period is always be equal to its valency shell. So it's carbon belongs to which period? Second period. Next, coming to silicon, neon core 3s2 3p2, 3s2 3p2, and germanium is argon core 3d10 4s2 4p2, and krypton core 4d10 5s2 5p2, and finally xenon core 4f14 5d10 6s2 6p2. Here, what is the highest shell here? Second shell is the highest shell, so it belongs to second period. What is the highest shell in silicon? Third shell, so this belongs to third period. And here fourth period, 5 fifth period, 6 sixth period. Okay, and in this outermost shell, what is the general electronic configuration of 14th group elements? What is the general electronic configuration? Valence electronic configuration. So it's always be equal to its period number. So we can write this as ns2 np2. ns2 np2 is the general electronic configuration to the 14th group elements. According to this general electronic configuration, suppose if they ask you what is the valency of the 14th group elements. Valency, we know how you define the valency. You can define in two ways. Number of electrons present in the outermost shell is called valency electrons, or else valency is nothing but the combining capacity of an element. Combining capacity. For example, you take the carbon If we take the carbon, what is the maximum valency of carbon? 4. Why? Because it has 4 valence electron. So always the valency is always be equal to what? Its valency electrons. So the valency of this 14 group elements is 4. Okay, and in some cases, in case of higher elements like tin and lead, their valency can also be 2. So the valency, general valency of this 14 group elements is either 4 or 2. Next, oxidation states. Oxidation states. Yes, what about the oxidation states? Generally, the 14 group elements can show two kinds of oxidation states, three types of oxidation states, that is a +4, +2, -4. But remember, the -4 oxidation state, the stability of -4 oxidation is very less. So in the rare cases only they can show -4 oxidation state. Usually they shows +4 and +2 oxidation state. And when you check the stabilities of these two oxidation states, when you go from top to bottom, for example, from top to bottom, from carbon to lead, when you go from top to bottom, the stability of +4 oxidation state decreases. Okay, the stability of +4 oxidation state, what happened? Decreases. Whereas the stability of +2 oxidation state increases. Remember that. When you go from top to bottom, what happens? The stability of +4 oxidation state decreases and +2 oxidation state increases. That's because of an important concept, that is what? Inert pair effect. That's already we discussed in boron family. So let us discuss once again what is inert pair effect. Okay, let's start. What is inert pair effect? Inert pair effect. As we know, the general electronic configuration of 14th group elements is NS2, NP2. Okay, if the valency shell electrons, total how many valency shell electrons? 2 + 2, 4 valency electrons are there. If all 4 valence electrons are participated, if all 4 electrons are lost, okay, then their oxidation state is +4. If only 2 electrons among the 4, if 2 electrons are participated, they can show +2. To get the octet configuration, already it has 4 valence electrons. To get the stability, that is octet configuration, it needs 4 more electrons. If it gains that 4 electrons, it will shows -4 oxidation states. Now, among these, -4 is rare cases, +4 and +2. Already I told you, the stability of +4 oxidation state decreases down the group, whereas +2 oxidation state will increase by down the group. That's because of inert pair effect. What is inert pair effect? It's nothing but the reluctance of participation of NS electrons. Which electrons? NS electrons in bonding formation. Bonding formation is called inert pair effect. Reluctance. What is the meaning of reluctance? Not willing. That means the NS electrons are not willing to participating in the bonding formation. If NS electrons are not willing to participating in the bonding formation, only NP electrons only will participate. If only NP electrons are participated, then what is the oxidation state? +2. Okay, that is why the +2 stability increases, +4 stability decreases. So that is called inert pair effect. You may get that doubt. Why? Why NS electrons are not willing to participate? Let us see the reasons. So if you see the reasons behind the inert pair effect, mainly there was 2 reasons behind the inert pair effect. One is due to increasing the nuclear attractions attractions on valence electrons, valence ns electrons especially. Why? Because the penetrating power of ns orbital electrons is very high. That is why. So on valence ns electrons by increasing the number of protons. So as we know, by going down the group, atomic number increases. If atomic number increases, the number of protons inside the nucleus also will increase. It results the what? Increase in the nuclear attractions. Okay. So because of more nuclear attractions, the ns electrons are strongly holded. Okay. If it is strongly holded, they cannot be participated. That is one of the reason. The second reason is maybe the energy release. The energy required to unpair the ns2 electrons is greater than the energy formed by bonding formation. See, when the ns electrons can participate, for example, this is ns, this is np subshell. Let us consider ns having 2 electrons, np having 2 electrons. When ns electron can involve in bonding formation in its excited state, this is what? Ground state. In excited state, one of its electrons should jump from here to here, so its configuration should be ns1 np3. Then only all 4 unpaired electrons can participating in the bonding formation, so that they can show +4 oxidation state. Suppose, so to unpair these electrons, it requires some energy. Okay, so the electron should jump from here to here. For that, it needs some energy. Okay, the energy required to unpair these electrons is greater than the bonding formation. Okay, after it was excited, because of that excitation, they will form bonds. If bonds are formed, generally it releases some energy. Okay, so the energy required to unpair the electron is larger than the energy released after the bonding formation. So because of that reason, they cannot be excited. If they cannot be excited, without excitation, they cannot be participating in the bonding formation. That is why only +2 oxidation state can show. So these are the 2 main reasons behind the inert pair effect. So once again, inert pair effect is nothing but the reluctance of participation of valency ns electrons in bonding formation is called inert pair effect. Especially this effect can be seen in 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. In these 4 groups, we can clearly see this effects of inert pair effect. Okay, next move on to physical properties. Some physical properties of carbon family. In this physical properties, so if you see all the elements of this carbon family are solids. There was no liquid, there was no gaseous element. So all are solids. All are solids only. Next one, coming to the atomic radius or atomic size. What happened to the atomic radius in this group? Especially in the group, when you come from top to bottom, so what is the general trend? In any group, when you go from top to bottom, atomic size increases. So here also, when you come from top to bottom, the atomic radius increases. Generally it will increase. So as like general trend, the atomic radius here also will increase, but there was an exception. So atomic radius increases with an exception. There was one exception. Let us see where it will be. Let us see. So what is that exception? So what is the expected order, general order? So there is a carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. That is a expected order. Expected order. But in reality, what is the actual order of atomic size? If you see the actual order, carbon, lead, silicon, germanium, tin. So what is the exceptional case here? Lead here. One exception I told, the atomic radius increases generally from top to bottom with one exception. What is that? Lead. Lead has exceptionally less size than silicon, germanium, tin. Okay, so if you see the orders, this is 1.72 angstroms, this is 2.02, this is 2.10, this is 2.11 and 2.17. So lead is exceptionally having lesser atomic radius than others. Okay, what is it? This is what? Actual order. You may get the doubt. Then what is the reason behind that? Why lead is exceptionally having lesser atomic size than the silicon, germanium, tin? Yes, the reason is it is due to post-lanthanoid contraction. Post-lanthanoid contraction. Because of lanthanoid contraction, you know, if you go to the D and F black elements, in D black elements and F black elements, especially in F black elements, you know what is lanthanoid contraction and the effects of the lanthanoid contraction. We can discuss about it. So just here one point to remember, the lead is exceptionally having smaller size than actual. That is because of lanthanoid contraction. Okay. So this is about the second periodic physical property. Next, coming to the ionization energy. Ionization energy. You know, ionization energy is nothing but energy required to remove a valence electron from its neutral gaseous atom is called ionization energy. What happened to the ionization energy? As we know, ionization energy and atomic size, they both are inversely proportional. Here atomic size increases. If atomic size increases, ionization energy decreases. So the general trend is what? General trend from top to bottom, ionization energy decreases. But here in atomic size there was an exception, as like here also, from top to bottom ionization energy decreases with an exception. Here also one exceptional case is there. What is that exceptional case? Here lead is having exceptionally smaller size. No? If it is having smaller size, the ionization energy should be greater than that. So that is why. So the order is carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. So lead is exceptionally having higher ionization energy than tin. Okay, but we cannot compare the ionization energy of lead with either germanium and silicon. Remember that when you compare tin and lead, which element having the more ionization energy? Definitely lead only, because of small size. Okay, this is due to its small size. So this is about the ionization energy. Next property, electronegativity. You know what is electronegativity? Just imagine two elements A and B. Okay, as two persons. If two persons are equally stronger, okay, if we put a competition between them, what happens? They both will pull the thread with equal force. Okay, suppose if A is weaker than B, then automatically the thread will go towards B. Okay, if A is stronger than B, the thread will go towards A. That means the tendency of an atom or element to attract the shared pair of electrons towards itself, that tendency we call it as what? Electronegativity. See, electronegativity is usually depends upon effective nuclear charge. If there was more effective nuclear charge, more electronegativity. Less effective nuclear charge, less electronegativity. Let us see. What is the general trend of electronegativity? In periodic properties of class 11, we discuss electronegativity decreases down the group as like ionization energy. That's a general trend. What about this group? So in general, from top to bottom, electronegativity decreases in general. Generally decreases, no doubt. But in this group, especially in this group, in this 14th group, it's irregular. There was no particular order of decreasing or increasing. There was no particular order, irregular. What is that irregular order? See, among the all, carbon is the highest electronegative element, no doubt. Among these 14th group element, carbon is the smallest size element. Because of smallest size, it has more effective nuclear charge. If it has more effective nuclear charge, more tendency to attract the valence shared pair of electrons. So its electronegativity is most and highest, carbon. And coming to the remaining all elements, what are the remaining elements? Silicon, germanium, tin and lead. So remaining 4 elements are almost having similar electronegativity. So that is what silicon almost equal to germanium, almost equal to tin, but lead is little bit more than tin. Okay, but anyhow we can say that remaining all 4 elements are almost having equal electronegativity, almost. Okay, but comparing the lead with remaining all, lead is somewhat more. Okay, so this is about the electronegativity order of 14 group elements. Next, move on to the next property, that is what? Density. Density of these 14th group elements. If you see the density, generally, what is the general order of density? So when you go from top to bottom, tell me one thing, what happened to the atomic mass increases, right? If the atomic mass increases, what happened to the density? Density also increases. Why? Because density is nothing but mass by volume. Then you may get that out. Sir, mass is increasing, at the same time volume also increasing, then how can we say the density is also directly proportional to the mass? One thing, here, no doubt mass increasing, at the same time volume, that is size also increasing. But when you compare the relative increasing of these both mass and volume, mass is relative tendency of increasing is more than volume. So because of more relative increase in the mass compared to the volume, the density is increasing. That is the reason. So in generally, when in any group, when you go from top to bottom, density usually increases. Okay. Now in this group, in this 14th group, what is the order of density? So if you see the general order, that is carbon, as we know, carbon can exist in 2 allotropic forms. Many allotropic forms, out of them graphite and diamond, these 2 allotropic forms we generally will take whenever in the discussion we take graphite and diamond. So because of these 2 general allotropic forms, carbon is density is somewhat changing. Let us see, suppose if you take the carbon in graphite form, okay, carbon in graphite form, graphite density is least, no doubt. So carbon less than silicon, less than germanium, tin and lead. That's general, it's a regular order only if it is a graphite. But remember that if carbon is a diamond form, so diamond is what? In the diamond, the more number of carbon atoms are closely packed, okay, very tightly packed. Because of tight packing, what happens? The density will increase. So that is why silicon is the least density when the carbon is in diamond form. Silicon lesser than carbon diamond. Next, germanium, tin, lead. This is quite common. Okay, so only carbon silicon orders only will change. If the carbon is a diamond form, carbon density is greater than silicon. If carbon is a graphite form, silicon having a more density than carbon. Okay, remember this change. It's very, very important. So that is about the order of densities. Next, move to the next physical property. This is what? Order of melting points. Melting point order. Generally, the orders of melting boiling points generally will decrease in common. So likewise here also, from top to bottom, the order of melting points decreases. Okay, with one exception. With one exception. What is that exception? Let us see. That is what? Carbon having more melting point, high melting point than silicon, germanium, tin, but lead is exceptionally having more melting point. You may get that out. What is the reason? Why? Because lead, as we know, because of lanthanide contraction, lead is having the small size. Small size means more crystal packing. Okay, so lead has high crystal packing. Okay, if there was a more crystal packing, so to break it, to melt it, it needs more temperature. That is why the melting point of lead is more compared to tin. So that is one exceptional order. Coming to the boiling point, so boiling point there was no exceptional cases. From top to bottom, the order of boiling point decreases in general. Okay, so that is carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. So this is order of boiling point. Next physical property is what? Catenation. So what is a catenation? So especially one of the special feature of carbon is carbon has large catenation ability. So what is the catenation? Catenation is nothing but the ability of an element for making long chains. Ability of an element making long chains. Okay, so that ability we call it as what? Catenation ability. Then you may get that what are the elements is having this ability. So if you see that carbon having, silicon is having, next phosphorus is having, very few elements having this ability. Okay, among all, carbon is the element having highest catenation ability. Okay, so carbon having the highest catenation. That is why most of the organic compounds, their carbon is the one of the element. Because of its large catenation ability, it can form large hydrocarbon chains. Okay, that is one of the reason. Okay, catenation ability. Then on what basis carbon is having this ability? Okay, why not others? Why only carbon? So there was the reasons behind the catenation ability. What are the reasons behind the catenation ability? So the first condition is the element. One of the first condition, not reason, conditions. What are the conditions required to have a large catenation ability? First condition is that element has valency greater than or equal to 2. Okay, first condition is that element should have minimum of 2 valence, minimum of 2 bonds. More than 2 bonds also not a problem, but the minimum of have valency 2. So the valency of that element should be greater than or equal to 2. Then only it can make a larger bond. Now, suppose if the valency is 1, for example, X is the element, its valency is only 1. That is, it can make bond with only A, only with one element. So is it able to make a longer chains? No chance. When it can make the longer chains, if there was a bonding with the left side, top or bottom, then only it has the ability. But its valency here is 1. So there was no chance. That is why the first condition is that element valency should be greater than or equal to 2. The second condition is that it can able to form self bonds with itself. It can able to form self bonds with itself. For example, element A is there. A can form bond with A itself. Okay, so then only it can show the large catenation ability. The second condition is that it can able to form self bonds, own bonds with the same element. That's the second condition. And the third condition is that the formed self bonds as strong as much stronger as the bonds formed by or formed with others. For example, A is the element. A is self bonding with A likewise. Okay, and this AA bond energy of AA here, and when the same element A bonding with the B element, so that is what bond energy of AB. So these two bond energies almost be equal. There should not be a huge difference between self bonding and bonding with others. That is the third condition. The self bond is as strong as the bonds which are formed with other elements. So when these three conditions satisfy, then only that elements can show the catenation property.